Richie here with Statifying Football. This is your bowl preview. This one is for Tuesday, December 31st. There should be 5 games that day, starting with the Belk Bowl, which is at noon. The Virginia Tech Hokies against the Kentucky Wildcats. Virginia Tech coming off an 8-4 season, almost won the Coastal but couldn't get it done. They averaged 30.9 points a game, 52nd in the country, 82nd in total offense, 45th in scoring defense, 27th in rush defense, 42nd in total defense, 37 sacks, 70 tackles for loss. Quarterback Hendon Hooker, they kind of went through a bunch of different quarterbacks, but Hendon Hooker has taken over lately. He's been playing pretty well. He's passed for 1,445 yards, 11 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, plus ran for 306 yards and 5 touchdowns. Linebacker Rashard Ashby, 105 tackles. Defensive back Caleb Farley, 12 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, 16 passes defensed, which is tied for 5th nationally. Jermaine Waller, 10 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, 13 passes defense himself. So, as usual, Virginia Tech, solid on defense, not quite up to the standards they've had over the last 25 years. Their defensive coordinator, Bud Foster, who's been there for over 30 years as an assistant, over 25 years as a defensive coordinator. This will be his last game. He will be retiring. They ended this season well. They had two shutouts in their last 3 or 4 games in the season. So that's why a lot of this is focused on their defense. Then you got Kentucky. They came in 75. They're averaging 26 points a game. They're actually number 4 in the country in rushing offense, and that's because their quarterbacks have sucked and got hurt. Lynn Bowden, who actually ended up as their top receiver, he took over quarterback, and they basically just ran a Wildcat. Not really an option, just a Wildcat. He ended up actually rushing for over 1,200 yards. He passed for 330, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, ran for 1,235 yards and 11 touchdowns. Defensively, they're 12th in the nation in scoring defense, 19th in total defense. This will be an interesting matchup. You have 2 pretty decent defenses, they're okay offenses, and with Kentucky's run game, the way they've been doing with the quarterback and all the running backs, they've been running all over people. This is going to be tough for Virginia Tech. I almost want to side with Kentucky here just because of that running game. You know what? Virginia Tech is favored, but I'm gonna go Kentucky here. I'm gonna say Lynn Bowden goes off again, gets a whole bunch of rushing yards, and I think this will be kind of pretty even, pretty back and forth, maybe 24-21 kind of thing. But I think it's Kentucky's running game in the end that gets it done. So I'm gonna go Kentucky here actually for the win. All right, then at 2 o'clock you got the Sun Bowl, Florida State Seminoles and Arizona State Sun Devils. Florida State limping in at 6-6, averaging 29 points a game. 64th in total offense, 71st in scoring defense. James Blackman, 2,095 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 7 picks. They do have a good running back in Cam Akers, 1,144 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. Wide receiver to Marion Terry, 51 catches, 1,023 yards, 8 touchdowns. Defensive back Hamza Naziruddin, 101 tackles. Asante Samuel Jr. actually, 12 pass breakups, 1 pick, and 13 passes defense. So they've been kind of their record, just kind of average all over the place. Arizona State, although they finished 7-5, they did it with a freshman quarterback. They had a huge upset over Oregon. There were a few other games that they could have won, could have gone either way, that they won or lost. 25.2 points a game, 94th nationally. Not great in offense this year. Defense, 41st in scoring defense, 65th in total defense. They have a plus 10 turnover margin, which is 11th nationally, so that's a positive. Quarterback Jaden Daniels has had a really good year, 2,748 passing yards, 17 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions, plus ran for 319, 3 touchdowns. Benjamin, one of the better running backs in the country over the last couple of years, ran for 1,083 yards, 10 touchdowns. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, 65 catches, 1,192 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. Defensive back Jack Jones, 13 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, 16 passes defensed. And Kobe Williams had 10 pass breakups himself. I think this will be a pretty even game. It should go back and forth. Both pretty good offenses, both not the best defenses. Could be a shootout. In the end, I'm going to go Arizona State. I trust them a little bit more. I trust Herm Edwards a little more. Florida State, yeah, they have the interim. They've just been up and down all year. I'm going to go Arizona State there in the end with what should be a pretty close game. All right, the Liberty Bowl. Navy Midshipmen ranked 23rd against the Kansas State Wildcats out of the Big 12. Navy come in at a 10-2 record, averaging 38.6 points a game, which is 12th nationally. They're the number one rushing offense in the country. They run a triple option offense. 28th nationally in defense and in total offense. Actually, 38th in scoring defense and 22nd in total defense. Malcolm Perry passed for 1,027 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. But like I said, it's a triple option offense. He's ran for 1,804 yards and 21 rushing touchdowns. His last game of the year against Army, he ran for 304 yards in that game. It's possible if he goes off in this game like he has multiple times this year, maybe he gets to 2,000 rushing yards. We'll see about that. Linebacker Jacob Springer, 8 sacks there. Kansas State coming in 8-4, averaging 30.7 points per game. 54th nationally. 28th in scoring defense, 61st rush defense, 45 in total defense. Quarterback Skylar Thompson, 2,191 yards, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks, plus 402 rushing and 10 touchdowns. I think this is an even game. You have a Kansas State team who focuses a lot on the run. They don't run the triple option. They do like to run it a lot. They can pass a little bit. They they usually always play well in special teams and defense, but so does Navy. So I actually think this will be a pretty even game. I think the difference here is Malcolm Perry, the quarterback for Navy. I think this will go back and forth. This will have a lot of rushing yards. Probably not too many penalties. Both teams are usually pretty disciplined in that way. It might come down to, like most games, turnover, but especially in this game where possessions are at a premium. Both teams are going to try to run it a lot, and just kind of, this might be a pretty short game in terms of length of time that it takes. However, I'm going to go Navy in the end here, wins it close. So I got Navy and Malcolm Perry there. All right, then at 4:30, you got the Arizona Bowl, Wyoming Cowboys out of the Mountain West, and the Georgia State Panthers out of the Sun Belt. Both teams coming in at 7-5. Wyoming averaging only 24.3 points a game, 96 nationally. They do have the number 27 rush offense in the country, but they're more about their defense. 11th in scoring defense, 6th in rush defense, 46 in total defense. They've had to go through about 2 or 3 different quarterbacks here. Tyler Vanderwall should start. He passed for 512, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. Levi Williams came in late in the year as a freshman, 109 passing yards, 1 pick, ran for 128 and a touchdown. They're led on offense though by the running back Xavier Valade, ran for 1,061 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. Defensively, safety Elijah Halliburton, 119 tackles. Linebacker Logan Wilson had 7 pass breakups and 4 interceptions himself. Then on the flip side, Georgia State 7-5, averaging 32.4 points a game, which is 42nd nationally. They have the number 14 rushing offense, 27th in total offense. Their defense is not good at all. 116th in rushing defense, 120th in scoring defense, 110th in total defense. They're led by their offense, Dan Ellington, the quarterback, 2,291 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 picks, plus 598 rushing and 5 touchdowns. Running back Trey Barnett ran for 1,389 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. This is basically defense versus offense strengths. You have Georgia State averaging 32 points a game, Wyoming 11th in scoring defense. You have Georgia State 14 rushing offense against Wyoming number 6 rushing defense. I think the key here though is Wyoming. Their rushing offense 27th in the nation against the 116th rushing defense. I think Wyoming will end up winning this game behind, like they have all year, behind running back, behind Valade, behind their solid defense. I think Georgia State, they can move the ball a little bit, but I think Wyoming should be able to take care of Georgia State there. All right, the Alamo Bowl, this is what I call the name game. Utah Utes, 11-2, known nationally, number 11 in the country. They just fell short of their goals this year. Texas Longhorns, everybody knows, they're only 75 though. They woefully underperformed this season. I'll start with Utah, averaging 34 points a game, 27th nationally, 34th in total offense. 5th in scoring defense, number 1 rush defense, 13th pass defense, Number 3, total defense. Getting 13 picks in the year. Quarterback Tyler Huntley, 2,966 yards, 18 touchdowns to 4 picks, plus 257 rushing and 5 touchdowns. Zach Moss, one of the best running backs in the country that most people don't know, possible first-round pick or so. 1,359 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns. Defensively, they have defensive end Bradley Anae, 12.5 sacks. Defensive back Jalen Johnson, 11 pass breakups, 2 picks, 13 passes defensed. Julian Blackman, 4 pass breakups, 4 interceptions. And on the flip side, you got Texas, 35 points a game, 18th nationally, 15th in total offense. Their defense is not good at all. 75th in scoring, or 74th in scoring defense, 108th in total defense. Quarterback Sam Ehlinger, 3,462 yards, 29 touchdowns, 9 picks, plus 590 and 6 touchdowns on the ground. Wide receiver Devin Duvernay, 103 catches, 1,294 yards, 8 touchdowns. Texas A&M with that offense, it can move it, but to me, this is Utah. Utah has the better overall team, one of the best defenses in the country, even a really, really good offense, a solid offense. This could be a blowout. I think Texas might have a little too much pride there, so that's why I'm not going to call for an outright blowout, but I do think Utah will at least win the game there. All right, so those are my previews for Tuesday, December 31st. So just a few more days left of the bowls after that. Check back for my New Year's bowl games and then a few more after that. So peace.